Good day, beloved. My name is Calvin Reaves, and I'm pastor of my Father's House Ministries and your host. And we are the voices of the Exodus Project. Beloved, the Exodus Project is a vehicle of opportunity committed to the how to disrupt despair and dis-ease and birth the God-given greatness in you. So come on in and let's have a conversation. Today, I have with me Marcus Lewis. Marcus, thank you for coming in and being a part of this project.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Today, we want to dive into the honesty. You know, when I started off in the intro and I mentioned the how to disrupt despair and disease, and that how, that H is about honesty. Marcus, I've known you for not a long time, but what I've learned of you is that you're a visionary. Father, husband, minister of the gospel, entrepreneur. And we really thank you for being a voice in the community with your gift and your trade.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So today I want to get into your honesty about your Exodus project.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and that will begin with, how did you know you was in need of an Exodus?
It was a very voluntold type situation. My wife was pregnant with our oldest son.
Okay.
And going into the last month or so of her pregnancy, her brother comes into town from Seattle, Navy veteran, and he, we go riding out in the city, and we're just catching up, and he mentions to me that I should stop smoking Black and Milds and go to vaping. That was the beginning of my escape, or my exodus, was finding an off-ramp to protect my child. I've always had the internal want to do it, but I didn't have anybody around me to give me that external push to do it. Yeah, it's common sense that you shouldn't smoke around your kids, around babies, for that matter. But it didn't hit until he introduced me to something safer for my son. Mm-hmm. That would in turn also help me to stop, period. This was 2015.
Okay, so help me out.
Yeah.
Because when you use the word vaping, and I come up in the 70s, either you got high or you didn't.
Right.
Now, is vaping a form of getting high?
It can be, if you have THC liquid in your vape pen or vape machine.
Okay.
It can do the same effects. Sometimes it can be stronger.
Okay. So, do you have a history of drugs of any?
No, not before 2007. No one in my family ever did it.
Okay.
And not even me until the fall, summer 2007.
Okay. And that was with?
That was Black and Milds.
Black and Milds.
There's cigar thing. You can find it at all gas stations, all tobacco stores. I was going into my senior year of undergrad, and there was a heavy stress, a weight, and I did not want to fail.
So, Black and Milds basically a form of nicotine.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And for the viewers, coming out coming out of a lifestyle or having the desire to exodus out of something, it don't have to be as destructive as drugs or narcotics, because nicotine is a drug. So, Marcus, thank you for bringing that to my attention, Black and Miles, because in my view, when someone would mention Black and Miles, where I would come from, or a cigar or something, that means you cut it open, take the tobacco out, and put marijuana in it. Okay, so you sort of educated me here for a minute there, so thank you. So your addiction to nicotine, okay, and you saw a reason for an exodus because of your wife being pregnant, and you wanted the health of your child was priority.
Right.
Okay. So, in knowing you needed an exodus, and it goes back to knowing the need of it and why. But I mean, help me out. Why?
Why did I do it?
It was. You said you were stressed. Nicotine was not so bad. Okay. Then you went to the vaping. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it wasn't taking or was it taking some of your paycheck? Was it a financial distraction?
Oddly, this is gonna sound weird, counterproductive. It oddly saved money, because if I bought a big enough bottle of liquid, it would last me longer than purchasing Black and Miles all the time.
Okay.
And so the cost was cheaper over time.
Okay.
Doesn't make it better either way, but that was my rationale behind it at the time.
Okay, rationale. Okay, so you're dealing with. So you come off the Black and Miles. You went into vaping. It saved you money. So why the exodus? I mean, why not continue? I mean,
I think the exodus had less to do about me wanting to quit, more so than the situation that led me to stop. I just sort of kept along with it. It came a point 2018, 2019, where I just ran out of liquid.
Okay.
And when I ran out, that was one time where I said in my head, I don't want to go buy anymore. And from that exact moment when I said it, I stopped. I didn't do it anymore. That exact moment, I was leaving work and I was ready to go add some more liquid into the canister, but I ran out. And I said, okay, whenever I get done, that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna buy anymore, because that was becoming a lot to always have to buy. Even though the rationale for it was I was saving money.
Okay.
But it still had a point where I was like, this is becoming too much still.
Okay.
And that was, I don't remember the day. I didn't write it down. I didn't screenshot my phone to see what the date and time was. I just stopped.
No withdrawals, no relapses?
Withdrawals, mild. Relapses, no.
Okay. One of the reasons I brought up relapse is because when you make that decision, a conscious decision to stop, and especially with something that, out of your own words, you had so many rational decisions you made of how to balance it, and it worked for a while. And I'm still stuck with this why, but You say you ran out. You ran out, and you said, "I'm not doing it no more." Why? Really, why?
That's a really good. I don't, like I said, I don't have any pinpoint concrete thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, oh, I ran out. I'm not going to buy anymore. I think that was the moment the door closed on that period.
Okay, was there periods of time where you really wanted to stop but you couldn't?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
okay. That's it.
Yes.
And I can relate to that because I was a nicotine smoker for 45, 46 years. And I always thought that when I get ready to stop, I can stop.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was really ready to stop, I couldn't stop.
Okay.
Even to the point of the rituals that went along with smoking.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you mention economically, putting money aside for this and that.
Right.
Even with that, during the week, putting X amount of dollars away for cigarettes. And when I got ready to stop, when I was really wanted to stop smoking, I stopped buying packs of cigarettes and was buying singles. Okay. And one day, on a Friday, I think I realized I basically bought almost 2 packs of cigarettes in singles through that week. And I'm like, this is still crazy. So the rituals that came about with this, and then the mental anguish, the emotional anguish, for me, I didn't like it in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I had certain clothes I would smoke in. When I get finished, put them in a bag and put them in the corner, and just,
Yeah.
not really realizing how nicotine really just got in the fabric in your home and all of that stuff. But how I can relate your issue or your desire for an exodus with the Exodus Project in a whole is with the children of Israel. When they wanted to come out and word came to let my people go.
Mm-hmm.
Pharaoh got pretty rough. He took away the straw to make bricks, but they still made it. I say that to say this. When we see how hard it is to maintain nicotine, the habit of it, because I don't want it no more, but still we made a way.
Right. Absolutely.
We still made a way.
Absolutely. Along the lines of your finding out you were getting 2 packs of singles a week, at my worst, I was a pack of Black & Milds. There's 5 cigars in a pack.
Okay.
At my worst, I was doing 5 of those packs a day.
A day. Wow.
It was consistent. It was constant. It was never ending. It was wake up, get myself together. As soon as I get in the car, get going. It's usually probably a brand new one, or it's probably one from the night before. And I just go through the day. Everywhere I went in the car, I would do that. I would smoke every single time. Thought I had things of concealment, like sprays and smell goods, and trying to find ways of not putting the ashes in the car, either not dumping them out the window or putting them in something else so I can throw away later.
Okay.
And not having to use the ashtray at all. just irrational thinking that lets you believe what you're doing makes sense.
So, you were conforming to what appeared to be okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I used this passage in another episode. Be not conformed to this world, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. And it's evident you're a thinker because you was trying to find ways to conceal and all of that. But the rest of that says that ye may prove what is good and acceptable will of God. So, in knowing that you needed an exodus, in knowing that this was harmful for your child, the black and milds, and knowing that even the vaping was becoming an economical strain, did once you ever think about, did it please God or did it not please God? Did God ever come into the picture?
Yes. In a very convoluted way, where God called me to preach in 2009. I gave my first sermon in 2010. That first sermon, driving up to church to preach, I smoked.
Okay, now you said it came to you in what kind of way?
Convoluted.
And that means exactly?
It was, for me, I use it as, I thought it pleased God because I was still halfway obeying what he was calling me to do.
Okay.
But I was attributing, over time I began to attribute God's speaking to me because of the because of the nicotine. The nicotine was allowing me to reach God, and he was still speaking to me while giving me sermons, giving me messages, giving me things, and I was still smoking. So my brain made it seem like this is working.
Okay.
This is working until I stopped.
Now, are you sure it wasn't nothing else in those black and mild?
No, I'm positive. I'm positive. It was
okay.
I would call it the shame of addiction. The shame of addiction makes you believe that what you're doing is right.
But you said that you believed that God was speaking to you.
And I thought it was because of the nicotine. Like, I didn't really truly understand that he was speaking to me with or without it.
Okay.
I didn't process that until after I had stopped fully. I started smoking in 2007. In 2009, God called me. And I know he did because it felt like he was sitting right next to me when he said it. And that I had never experienced that before. But I didn't like get done praying and get up from my floor in my room and then go outside and smoke. I didn't do that. I went to sleep. So it wasn't a anxiety thing. In that moment, it was something different is happening, but I still can't shake this. No matter how hard I try, get nicotine patches, get nicotine gum, try celibacy, just cold turkey and not trying. No matter how hard I tried, the desire felt stronger.
Okay. Did you ever pray? And ask to be delivered?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay.
Multiple times. Prayed, leading to tears, leading to breaking it up in my hand, throwing it away,
Okay.
Like trying to have those moments that you see in TV shows or movies where that was the last straw, you know, and it was not. I'll go about a day and then the next day.
And I believe through my experiences as an addict, for as long as I smoked, I was an addict for 46 years. To me, those things has to happen. They have to come to pass, because only then can you recognize your brokenness. I can't do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard people say, God don't hear the sinner. Well, I'm like Paul. I was the chief, and I know he heard. He heard me. I remember doing bass and crack for days, and then becoming afraid that what am I going to do when my money run out? How am I going to handle it? But I remember when my money ran out, I remember God speaking to me. I remember God telling me, get your Bible and go in the bathroom. And I was high as a kite.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in the bathroom with my Bible, and the Holy Spirit would open it up. And when I would open it up, it would be exactly what I need. And I would close it up, and I said, this is crazy. How could he relate to me like this?
Mm-hmm.
But he was allowing me to recognize my brokenness and how much I need him. Plus, I learned he was training my ear to his voice.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Because we are, as his sheep, we are to know his voice in any circumstance, any situation. Yes. Amen. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Absolutely.
The next question is, and I heard you say that you were called to ministry. You was a father, and you didn't grow up in drugs, and you didn't grow up smoking, but did you ever run into that brick wall of when you started smoking, you didn't know who you were? Did you question who you were?
Yeah. And it was I would say it was before I got married, but it was after God called me. So it was that 2.5 year period.
Okay.
Where I truly didn't know what was going on. I was dating my then girlfriend, now wife, Brandy. I was dating her. While dating her, God called me to preach. While this is happening, I decide to propose, all within this 2.5 year period.
Okay.
But I didn't know who I was. I said, God, why are you calling me knowing that I do this? And why is Brandy loving me? And I don't know if she knows that I do this. Or I don't know if she can tell that I can do this. And it was weird because I found out that she never even knew I smoked until I told her. I don't know if that's true or not, but she said she could not tell. On my breath, on my person, she could not tell. But even through that, God still called me to preach. And even through that, I grew up in church, but I never liked talking in front of people.
Okay.
I consider myself Moses.
Okay.
I had a genuine stutter as a child, and I did not understand why he wanted to call me to do this. But I would go through my lumps that I took my first few years of preaching. And even when I started to find who I was, I still didn't know who I was because I was still telling people to change, but I wasn't doing it. And that's where the struggle came in at.
Okay.
That fight of myself of, are you ashamed of doing what you're telling others to do? Or are you trying to play both sides?
Viewers, I hope you're getting this. The gist of this. Early on, and I talked in my intro, and I said to you that the Exodus Project is a vehicle of opportunity to disrupt despair and dis-ease and to provoke healing. What I'm hearing from Marcus didn't come from a family of drug addicts. He wasn't a drug addict himself. He was dealing with identity, and nicotine came a part of his appetite. And nicotine itself gave him some confidence and even gave him some calm in going through school and being faced with dating and wanting to be married and even proposing and then having a child. So I really hope that you're getting the gist of this and the gist of the Exodus Project. Marcus, again, thank you for sharing all of those very intimate things. Your brokenness, understanding your brokenness and coming to reality with I'm broken, but yet I have a platform to let people know that, hey, this is the way,
Right.
But yet you're dealing with what you're dealing with. The question was, did you know who you was while yet you were yet in bondage?
Really good question. I think I have an answer for that.
Okay.
My mother-in-law told me, you will never be an effective preacher if you don't successfully come out of an issue you're going through. And I didn't understand it when she said it, because it was right when I first started preaching. She said, you cannot be an effective preacher if you don't successfully go through stuff in your life. I didn't know what that meant. This period of nicotine addiction, I can now look back and say, I can reach somebody else.
Wow, yes.
Understand that turmoil internally, spiritually, mentally, to reach that person. I think as I was growing in my ministry, God was using me to say specific things at certain times, even though I was still struggling with it myself.
Yes.
To get me to have the confidence in saying it when it's all said and done. How do you reach somebody and help them through a process if you have no understanding of the struggle, regardless of what the struggle may be? My wife and I lost our very first child in pregnancy in 2014.
My condolences.
Thank you. Through that, my mother-in-law still said, now you can reach somebody who's gone through infant mortality.
Yes.
you may not wear it outside so people can know about it, but you can reach that person because you've been through it.
Yes.
You now know how to be sympathetic, the words that you can use, the words that weren't used for you when you were going through it.
Okay.
And so you can do empathy and sympathy at the same time.
Yes.
And help that person navigate that.
You know, I've been a minister for 32 years. And quite a few of those years was as an addict. And I even pastored as an addict.
Mm-hmm.
And I started a outreach ministry. And it was in the prison, a female prison. And I was having issues with relapse.
Mm.
And in the program that I wrote, called Ladicom, today I thank God for allowing me to present Ladicom to so many. And it brought forth healing to quite a few. There were 7 steps.
Okay.
But I knew there was more. And I didn't quite understand how. I didn't understand the logistics of it. But 7 means complete.
Right.
I remember when God was calling me out of that ministry. And I'm like, I'm too far gone. You can't bring me out of this. It's the only thing that I had. I was yet still struggling with addiction issues, with relapses. So this is the only clarity of life that I had. You can't take me out of this.
Right.
And when he presented to me the Exodus Project back in, I think it was 2015, I think. I'm like, I don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm doing here. The Exodus Project was the next step from Life After Death Overcomers Ministry, Ladicom, from step 7 to step 8. 8 means new life.
Yep.
And when he brought that to me, new life, I couldn't walk in that until I overcame my addiction.
Yeah.
And in overcoming my addiction, when my father passed, I sat in my office and he brought it to fruition. This is where I called you into ministry, in my father's house. I never had any inclination that I would be back in Indianapolis at all. And after my father passed, sitting there in my office, which was his room, in his house, is where God called me into the ministry, in my father's house.
Mm-hmm.
And it all started to come. And then the Exodus Project. And the Exodus, the Father's House is the name of the ministry.
Right.
Exodus Project is the podcast. New life.
Mm-hmm.
I can administer this. I could talk about this because now today I'm walking in new life.
Right.
So I definitely understand where you're coming from. And
that was very tough, though.
man, and question 3, Marcus, what is your reasoning? Why do you pursue your Exodus right now? Why are you so consistent with it? Why, I see what you do here. Why?
I will reference it to Saul and his buddies on the Damascus Road. What happened, I believe, to Saul was a divine interruption.
Okay.
In that divine interruption, how you moved was different. What you moved is not the same. I think that's what happened to me.
Okay.
I think in 2019, I had a divine interruption.
Okay.
The interruption was no more liquid. But now let me take over this. And I think since then, the first 6 months were tough. I would go into a gas station and know, there it is. I'd see it. Be in the car with the windows rolled down. I could smell a car in front of me doing it. And the smoke would come in the window, and I'd be like, I know what flavor that is. Like, you know it. And you're like, okay, nope.
Yes.
Gotta keep going, gotta keep moving. I think that's probably what Saul went through. After his divine interruption on the road, Jesus still told him to go to where he was going. Still go back. On this road, you're going here, I stop you.
Yes.
But then keep going this way. Go to Damascus, but Damascus is a place where it was okay for Christians to be persecuted. Those that love Christ it was a comfortable place.
Okay.
For those people. But now Paul's life had been interrupted. And so Saul's life was interrupted. Now he's going in this place with a different understanding, different mindset to do a thing that's counter to why he was going in the first place. That's where I'm at. I'm doing a thing that's counter to what I was doing. I'm in ministry, free from nicotine. When a lot
Congratulations.
Thank you. When a lot of people are stuck in nicotine, not just preachers, but people. They're stuck in it. And it's not even the addiction of nicotine. It can be any addiction.
Yes.
Isaiah chapter 6 said, when King Uzziah died, that's when I saw the Lord. And for me, it was what that thing I considered to be God over me, once it died, then the real God of my life I could see now. And I think that's what has happened. I hear him more. I hear him in chaotic spaces.
Yes.
I hear him in quiet spaces. I hear him working in this building. I hear him with my children. I hear him in all these areas more so than what I perceived through smoking.
You know, it goes back to when we were talking earlier about in those places where even though the addiction was crying out so loud, you can still hear his voice. Him training our ear to hear his voice. And now in what you're doing, you know without a shadow of a doubt. You know, it's the scripture says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Right.
There are so many distorted versions of the truth. And when you're coming out of a life of addiction of whatever kind it is, oftentimes you don't know what you're hearing.
Right.
I can contest to this. I'm listening at you contesting to it. While yet you were going through your exodus, and in mind you, I believe you're still in it because you're bringing people through. You're showing them the way. And going through your exodus, you were able, and you're still able to hear what direction. And I have to paraphrase, I don't like doing this, but the scripture says you'll feel me on your left, or on your left, or on your right, and this is the way to go. Through our issues of life, while in our exodus, God is training our ear. And viewers, please understand and hear this. Wherever you are in your exodus, on your journey, wherever you are, God is training you to hear his ear, to hear his voice. He's training your ear to hear your voice, to hear his voice. And you'll know it's his voice because it's bringing you out of the chaos that you're living in, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, whatever. He's bringing you out of it. He's giving you clarity. One of the things that gives me a press, one of the things that gives me the reason to pursue with consistency my exodus, and also what I'm hearing from you is that the desire to please God today.
Yes.
A desire to please God. Mm-hmm. You know, when you know from exactly where you come from, not where they told you came from.
Right.
You know, not where you heard about, no, but where you know, where you have really gotten honest with yourself and know where you come from. And somebody would say, well, he was just smoking Black and Milds, and then he started vaping. But yes, the addictive part of it. And anything that becomes an addiction is spiritual warfare. So to be able to come out of spiritual warfare, yes, and to walk in the new creation that God has allowed us to walk in, that brings about a pursuit, a consistency in your exodus to please God.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your journey. Thank you for your press. Really appreciate what you're doing here. Also, give an opportunity to bring forth a message and a conversation about coming out, about different ones' exodus.
Oh, yeah.
So, beloved, thank you for traveling with us. It's been a good ride. And I'm here to tell you that your journey is not in vain. Every step that you make is a step to greatness. So until next time, see you at the Exodus Project.